This is all part, of course, of our coverage of the ANC's National General Council, the fifth of its kind after they skipped, of course, the last session because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's continue making sense of this moment with Professor Lesiba Teffo, a political analyst, certainly no stranger as we make sense of what's taking place in and around the ANC. And Prof, if optics are anything to go by, I know the ANC would have rather preferred that what is taking place outside isn't happening, but such is the state of affairs. And yesterday, Fikile Mbalula conceded that the party is facing funding issues, that in fact they need to urgently try to address how they're going to foot the 20 million rand wage bill on a monthly basis, he say, of the ANC, quite the amount. And I can already hear the questions from many people who are watching suggesting, if you can't handle your own finances, on what basis should we trust that you'll be able to take this country forward?
You know, you're prompting me to invoke the name of the EFF, maybe and other parties. I think somewhere there is a contribution from the monthly salary that they make towards the running of the party, which I think is a good thing. I know I read about it, and I think they were applying it, and I think maybe they are still doing that. Is it not about...
This is the EFF now?
Yes.
Right.
I think so, right? It's not about time. Forget about the other, talk about the self. If you want to change the world, Ayanda, start with yourself, right? Look at the salaries they earn. And I'm going to say this without any fear of contradiction. The public servants of South Africa right now, who are in the main deployees, are millionaires. From a director, everybody there, 50% plus of the public servants of South Africa are millionaires, and much more than the public servants in Europe. I can repeat that, let alone the executive. And sometimes you feel embarrassed when sarcastically people say when we travel that, oh, but your ministers are very rich. I'm told they get this, they get this, they get that. It's a fact. It's a painful truth. But if I don't look you in the eye and tell you the truth, who else must? I'm saying the ANC doesn't have to do some fundraising. It must start at home, within, right? A certain percentage towards running their own party, right? Surely you want to change the world, start with yourself. This is one good thing that I think the EFF did. And maybe I don't know more about others, but they must start to go. You see, the thing is you end up at least consorting and associating with wrong elements, right? Wearing T-shirts of the glorious movement, pretending and purporting to be members, while are what Mbalula would call comrade tsosis, right? Because they know you want money and they'll use all means to give you money in order to access also state resources and tenders. Let put this on the agenda, start to reflect and say, but we surely can do something, at least 1 or 5%, if we even talk about the public servants, because most of them are deployees. Yes, and I was about to actually point that out, not to, of course, conflate party and state. We know that ministers and public servants would be paid technically by the state. I'm deliberately and intentionally doing that. I know the distinction. I have got respect for that. But they collapsed that in the name of cadre deployment. Let them say I'm wrong. I am not wrong. I understand the delineation and the separation of powers. But they intentionally and deliberately, in the name of cadre deployment, the most incompetent and unqualified were given executive positions and even deployed in state-owned enterprises. Let those people say, the glorious movement is in trouble. We are where we are because of it. Is it not time to help it and contribute something? I dare them. I challenge them. We were told yesterday that the issue lies with the Political Party Funding Act. You know, Fikile Mbalula spent some time speaking about how that's made it difficult for particular funders to come forward. You clearly don't buy that. Yes, look, I mean, I appreciate that. Whatever help they can get, and legitimately so, let them get it. But I'm saying, let them not shy away from engaging me or engaging, not me, but the point I'm making. It is happening in other parts of the world. It's their party. It made them who they are. And now at this juncture. You know, Garibaldi at one stage said, your country needs you. Now at this stage, your movement needs you. Can you rise and help your movement? Can you rise and help your party? I mean, they earn very good salaries, my brother. They do, right?
Yeah.
Good salaries. They do. And I know they are watching me. They are listening. They will be talking to me when we go out here. And I'm going to tell them, right? You know I'm right. Your salaries are far superior to your counterparts in Europe. The same people you go cap in hand with a begging bowl to go and ask for aid. It's also...
Look, yesterday we were told that the delegates that are here are paying for their own T-shirts. They're no longer getting free bags. So perhaps this is a step in the right direction,
yes.
as it were.
I commend them for that.
Sure.
I do.
You mentioned public servants. I suppose it's a nice way for us to segue into one of the core issues that I imagine the ANC would want to be speaking about under this concept of organizational renewal, and that's the professionalization of the public service itself. The party saying they want to push back against careerism. This is part of what they have in their base document. Absolutely, I think many people would agree with that, but I can't help but imagine, Prof, that we've heard this before, you know, not once, not twice, but several times. And the question that would come up is, what will it take to finally get around to just doing it?
Yes. And you know, one of the guys, friend colleague, was with me when they were discussing this 10, 15 years ago. And now he's there trying to steer the ship. And I said, Buti, are you going to get it right? I think I'm a prof. All right. Good luck. But it is doable. It is possible. You know, apartheid had all its flaws in the National Party. But when they conceptualized the idea of the independent states from homeland to independence, they came up with a degree that started in 1987 or 1989. It's called Bachelor of Public Administration. Training public administrator to go and run the homelands, and in particular, the so-called independent states. They produce quality administration. Forget about the ideology, that's a different story. I'm not talking about that. But they knew to run this effectively, train them in a specific way, give them necessary skills. And those who are in the finances were allowed every year to come to the University of the North then for 6 months to study financial management while they were getting their salaries.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I'm looking, Prof, I can see the national chairperson of the ANC in Mantashe was on the podium just a short while ago. I'm not sure if he's still there or if we have that feed, but it might be worth just dipping in for you for a while. We know the program was meant to have started 43 minutes ago, and perhaps we'll get a better sense of why there seem to be delays. Let's listen in.
Maximum contribution to the discussion. Say what you want to say here and today, but we're going to ensure that there is discipline in expressing our views. Now, in the run-up to this NGC, there are many things that have happened. There are many things that are said about the NGC. I can assure you, anything that is not prescribed by the constitution of the ANC for the NGC is not going to happen.
Oh, apologies for that. It seems we had a bit of a technical gremlin to Mantashe, who was still outlining, I suppose, his own expectations for these National General Council. It's the fifth of its kind, of course, and it's all happening at the Bertrand Hotel. As soon as we're able to re-establish that connection for you, we'll certainly take you there live. It's also where we spotted the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, who is also present in the room. A number of issues, of course, that the party is hoping to ventilate over the next 4 days or so until Thursday. They have to do with the Freedom Charter, the ANC's renewal, the state of the National Democratic Revolution, and I'm smiling because the guest next to me has taken quite a swipe at that concept, at least in its traditional understanding. There's issues to do with our challenges since 1994, the war on poverty and inequality, and the list really goes on and on. As soon as we're able to take you back into the main plenary room, we'll try certainly to do that for you. In fact, it seems they're singing the national anthem. Let's pop you back before we continue, I suppose, delving into some of these issues. Let's listen.
South Africa, South Africa.
Gosh, we seem to be having quite a difficult time with some of these technical gremlins. We'll continue trying our very best to stay as much as we can in the main plenary room. We're coming to you from a rather lively media center at the moment. It seems a few more people have started trickling in as we keep a close eye on the start of the ANC's national General Council. Professor Lesiba Teffo is our political analyst who's been with us. And Prof, hopefully you and I can keep bouncing some of these ideas around while we wait to go back inside the main plenary. And I want to perhaps kick off by speaking about this concept of the triple threat that the ANC wants to, again, try focus on: poverty, inequality, and unemployment. It's happening against the backdrop of stagnant economic growth. And again, I come back to this idea that the policy seems to be sound. In fact, many people back the ANC's thinking about these issues.
Yes.
And to sound like a broken record, the issue is always implementation.
Yeah. The possibility condition for the redemption of the, or not the ANC, for appropriate application of the policies of the ANC. They don't need new policies. They have good policies. They can review, tweak, and amend here and there, but they've got good policies. No doubt about that. It's the caliber of the people that they employ that is a problem. It is the human factor that they must deal with. Too much talk won't help. They have good policies. I support by far the majority of the policies they have. But it's the human factor. It's the people there that they put there. And they defended wrong things in the past. And they're beginning to feel that, no, they must revise. I mean, I think Mhlante is chairing, former President Mhlante is chairing a committee that came up with recommendations of the caliber of the leadership they want. You must have a degree, you must have a certificate, you must have a diploma. Ayanda, the ANC can help itself if it were to go back to that seminal document called Through the Eye of the Nation, of the people that they appoint, they promote, they defend, they deploy. That is wrong. They've got good men and women. You really have to deploy your own. The winning nations of the world, the founding fathers and mothers of this country said to us, these are the values that undergird the Constitution. They must guide you as you go forward. Reconciliation, nation building, and social cohesion. Anything that I do or say, if it cannot contribute to do as that, I keep quiet, I walk away. Reconciliation, nation building, and social cohesion. For as long as you want to employ and you take color, you put it at the center of everything, you are not going to build a winning nation. Unless black and whites work together in South Africa, they will perish together as fools. Today, the ANC is less inclusive and representative than it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Where are the whites? Where are the Indians? That's one. Yesterday, I saw a regional conference in Gauteng. There was a leadership. Everybody there is black. No white, no Indian, no colored. Let's talk about these things. I know they are not pleasant, but if we don't tell each other the truth, one day we'll stand at the precipice and say, how did we arrive here?
And I suppose, Prof, part of what makes this an interesting dance, for lack of a better term, is that there are many who would have us convinced that the structural inequalities in this country justify the kind of demographic that you've spoken about at the moment.
I'm sorry. I've heard that many times. They too. I know you're a good scholar, a very good, brilliant student. I know sometimes where you are heading with your questions, but they too, they are going to sell it today. That won't buy. They themselves are going to tell you that story the people no longer buy of inequality. Because when Elon Musk says, I have money, I can create 50 or 100,000 jobs. Ayanda tells me, but if you don't give us 30% BEE stake, then we won't allow you. And a villager somewhere there in Amtata, somewhere there in Lusukisuki, says to me, who cares? I want a job. Those stakes are meant for the political elite and not for us. And Elon Musk says, of course I'm an Afrikaner boy, born and bred in the space. I also have my people. I know if I give you 30%, it won't trickle down to the people. And then how are you going to deal with inequality? Because only a limited few are overly empowered. The Lotto thing, I read about it yesterday. Then it has been granted. Granted to who? The billionaires already. How does it benefit? Reconceptualize that model, right, of managing the lottery in a way that the benefits thereof can go to the poor. In other countries, go to Russia or China, they would look at that and say, wow, this is a cash cow. We're going to change society.
Don't want to misquote you here, Prof. Is the suggestion that whatever policies that are currently in place, mainly some of them led by the ANC or spearheaded by the ANC, around structural reform to do with race or racial injustice, I should say, is the Prof saying this morning that that's obsolete now? We can move on from there because, frankly, we've tried it, it doesn't trickle down, and the ordinary man in the street doesn't care.
Oh, yes. I won't shy away from that. I get hammered for that, but I know down the line, we always come back to embrace each other. You say whatever you will, but on the ground, you can no longer fool them. They are no longer as gullible as they were 30 years ago. They see all these schemes are intended to benefit them and not us. Whatever policy they come up with, is always meant to benefit them. Yes, come up with those policies. All I'm asking for, let's pause and reflect and say we have these good policies. Why are they not working for the people? Is it the policies or ourselves? It's not the policies. ANC has got good policies that I fully support. But the corruption of the concept transformation, because everybody there is a professor, is an expert when it comes to transformation. And all the mess we find ourselves in is done in the name of transformation. If you call them out, then they say you are anti-transformation, peacetime revolutionary. Fine, call me what you will, but the people will pass judgment as they did in 2024.
You speak about the regional conference from the ANC in Gauteng. In fact, it was the Johannesburg regional conference that was held, I think it was last week. Loyiso Masuku emerged as the leader of that particular region. The Greater Johannesburg region is what they call it. And a lot has been, since we speak about transformation, a lot has been made about the fact that it's the first woman leader to take up that helm. And I say this, by the way, thinking about the report from yesterday, I think it was the Sunday Times that spoke about Togo Diza possibly replacing Cyril Ramaphosa. And I wonder just what your thinking around this concept is of that kind of transformation in the party.
Look, personally, I've gone beyond thinking about color when it comes to appointments. I've gone beyond thinking about color when it comes to helping take the country forward. In the name of gender equality, we end up even making wrong appointments. Let's pause and reflect. You'll hear many women saying, in leadership position, I get more support from men than women folk. And at that point then I say, can we pause and reflect? I no longer celebrate the first black this, the first woman this, the first man this, no. I just want us to live the values that undergird the Constitution, right? Inclusivity, collective effort towards realizing the dreams enshrined in the Constitution and in the Constitution, I mean, even in the national flag. That national flag is not a piece of cloth. It's an embodiment of values and aspirations of the people. That's when people see it, just that cloth, they cry, because for them it speaks volumes. It tells a story of where they come and where they want to be.
Fascinating. It's coming up for 5 to 11 on this Monday morning. It's day one of the ANC's National General Council. We're coming to you from the Burchard Hotel. We're hoping to take you to the main plenary room where it seems the official program has just about begun. But as we try to get that right, we continue with our discussion here from the media center, which seems to be relatively louder than it was, dare I say, about 10 minutes ago. This is where we know, of course, there'll also be those impromptu media briefings that we're expecting to be littered throughout the day, and I have no doubt as soon as that begins, we'll take you there live to get you a sense of how all of that unfolds. But in the interim, Prof, let's continue with our discussion as we nitpick some of these issues that the ANC is hoping to ventilate. One of them is, I suppose, taking stock of neoliberalism. It's another term we've heard before, and its shortcomings. And again, as we critique what is currently at play, many will ask, what would you replace it with? And what does that look like? What are the mechanisms of getting that right?
By the way, this concept, neoliberalism, right? How many people in this hall can define it? Right? Even those who are in leadership, do they know what it means, where it comes from? Its etymology, right? In the context in which it should operate. Do we want to use that or not? And in order not to be too complicated and sophisticated, I often say, what can work for us? Maybe give it also its name because it works for us. Or others who study us or amongst us who are gifted in this space would give it a name. But these are some of the ways I would want to removed from the ANC nomenclature. Because they've been talking about ADR, neoliberalism, white monopoly capital. What do those concepts mean? Maybe they had a meaning. I didn't understand them. But the more I listened to them, the more hollow they sound, and the more alienating they are from other people. Use an inclusive language to the extent possible. Please use an inclusive and not an alienating language. We need each other to move forward, black and white. Like it or not, we have a fractured past. But Ayanda, you can't keep looking at a fractured past and try to turn it into a festered wound. We are not the only country to have been colonized under the sun. But many transcend yesteryear's problems and decided we are going to join hands and shoulder on and move forward. The so-called Asian tigers, they were, including India, they were under colonialism at one stage, but they have since moved on. They accepted. We have this fractured path. We mustn't forget, but we must not be beholden to it.